Here's our Tree City designation. Here's our Arbor Day plaque. That was a great event that morning in Simpsonwood. We're all proud of that. You know, we could talk about all night about the Simpsonwood issue. I probably got 3 questions before things started. A couple of them were about Simpsonwood. We gave $2 million to the church. The county wouldn't take our money. We have no influence on it. We do have one councilman, raise your hand, Lori, who's on the committee. We have another one, Eric Christ, who's out of country right now. He's on the committee. Matt Hauser, who's the chairman of our plan commission, he's on the committee. So influence we're using, and I do a lot of influence behind the scenes, whatever I can. So to make it as passive, we don't need, I'm editorializing, but I'll just tell you, we don't need another Pinckneyville Park where we have lights, things like that. This is really a different kind of park. And I think, I've talked to Charlotte Nash and I've talked to Lynette, and they both can't give anything away, but basically say, we have a committee, we have a process. The Parks and Rec group from Gwinnett County have done this many times before. Let the process work and trust your citizens. We're trusting our citizens, and Lori keeps an eye on that for us. Okay. In conclusion, this is my last slide. Cities are the greatest creations of humanity. And I would have never told you that I agreed with that 4 years ago. But after being a mayor for 4 years, think about it like this. Someone invented, the car. Someone invented the computer. I'm not sure social media should be up there with a noteworthy invention, but those are singular achievements that I thought of this. Now, in our incubator, we're encouraging that kind of creativity, no question about it. But every time I talk to Sanjay Parak, who's our executive director, he says the teams. He's worked with startups. He works at Georgia Tech right now in their CreateX program with encouraging startups. That's what Georgia Tech is doing. And it's always about the team. Well, if you think about it, think of the creation of a city. Think of some of the bigger cities. I happen to agree that cities are the greatest creations of humanity. And I started the presentation with, think of what we've done, think of what we do if we haven't been here, gave you some updates, but I'll end it with this. I think it's a good thing we have the city. I think we've accomplished a lot. I think we've more to do. And with your help, going forward, we'll do even more. So thank you all very much.
Have time for a few questions?
Sure, of course. I do.
Okay. We will need you to use the microphone so that we pick it up on the video, so we'll be bringing you around, but please don't ask your question until we get to you in the microphone.
I saw that gentleman's hand go up first.
What, if you could wait for the microphone, because the video won't pick you up. The video can't.
We haven't heard anything about the bridge lately. Can you update us on that?
We're just still gathering input, taking input from our citizens and doing our due diligence. We're not in a big hurry to do it. It needs to be done somewhere around. It won't be, if we started it today, it still wouldn't be done by the time the town center is done. Town center is going to start hopefully October 3rd. Knock on something. So from that point of view, we're just finding out what their input is about the designs and things like that. Okay? Okay, right beside him. I saw that hand go up first. That's you.
Even though the transportation idea or project on Peachtree Parkway merging into Peachtree Industrial, on that ramp, can we put up on both sides speed limit 55, maintain speed? Because so often people are slowing down to 20 and 25. When you merge in, it slows down everything that's coming in on Peachtree Industrial. It seems to me just telling people, maintain your speed in the short term till they actually start construction.
That's a great suggestion. I see 2 policemen in the back there. They're both younger than me. Maybe they will remember that. And do me a favor, send me an email, because those are the kind of suggestions that I probably will forget them. But the point is that's a good suggestion. Yes, Bo.
Mike, obviously a lot of interesting things happening, positive things. If you sort of look out a couple years, what sort of keeps you up at night? what's the issue that we haven't thought about, or that you're thinking about that you haven't talked to us about yet?
If you were me, you'd be thinking about making sure the incubator launches well, making sure that we keep a competitive profile. Everybody in this room needs to understand our property values. The quality of life here is underpinned by one thing, and that is the jobs. I mean, the question, that's a great question. Do you know what the ratio is? Well, hold on. Remember, it's 40,900 to 40,600, okay? What percent of those jobs, 40,600, what percent of them live right here? It's 12, 10 or 12. She knew the answer was not a lot. In Paul Duke's day, 100%. That's where that live, work, play thing came from. Over the years, so why do we have a lot of traffic in the community? That's because 90% of the people come from someplace else. Do you see why we're making such efforts to have housing in Tech Park, connectivity, attract millennials back here, put housing in Tech Park, like right down here on your left, right at engineering, right past the engineering drive where, forget the name of it, it's right there on Jaybird Alley. Put things in there so people can, oh, that's really nice, I can live there. We're going to have some nice townhomes on the town center. But those things are what we're looking at to try to encourage people to stay here, because if they live here and they work here, it works. And we want the incubator to launch. We want this all to come together. We want Tech Park. We need to see, we've got the millennial housing here. We need to see some new office. Now, I will say this. Since we're all friends, I'll just tell you a little secret. I have gotten 3 phone calls from developers since we've started talking about the town center, about new office in Peachtree Corners. That's the first new office since Paul Duke. I'll let that sink in for a second. And that's what you want. Now, because what they said was, and we want to be up by the town center. It's very appealing. As a matter of fact, somebody wanted to build an office and they wanted the incubator to move out of City Hall and be there in the town center. We're not going to do that. But it's all of a sudden we're getting interest. What we want to do, what keeps me up at night is, thank goodness I'm retired, because I try to keep as many balls in the air as I possibly can so that we continue to do it and do it thoughtfully. I'm not worried about the schools. They got that. I'm not worried about Gwinnett County. Those guys are good, very supportive. Don't want a police department. Does anybody want a police department right now? I can tell you right now, those guys back there are worth their weight in gold. When's the last time anybody heard of a Gwinnett County policeman having a problem like that? Well, let me just say 2 words, Ferguson, Missouri. How about the terrible things happening? So I don't worry about any of that stuff. It's keeping we used to have a little saying, this community is at the tipping point. Right now, I feel the momentum going toward, we're beginning to get some traction. That's how, the council and I push as hard as we can and we run as fast as we can to keep it tipping thoughtfully. Because you don't want it to get going so fast and get excited and attract, something that you don't want here that leaves a permanent mark. It has to be consistent. That's why I showed you who we are and what our challenges really are. It's not what you think it is. So anyway, yes, ma'am.
You mentioned the great achievement having the Innovation Center and the Advanced Technology Development Center. What role might there be for students in the high schools nearby for partnerships or internships or some way to be understanding of the great development you've got here, and what role for them?
Thank you, Mary Kay. I appreciate that very much. Will Bishop is the principal at Norcross High School. And everybody knows they're going to build that STEM school up. They're actually broken ground on it. There's construction going. Not too far from where the millennial housing is going to be. It's right across the street. It's in Norcross, but it's right across the street in Tech Park. But Norcross High School's principal called me and said, look, you know, you guys are developing this incubator with Georgia Tech. People are going to be teaching there and holding classes, and you're going to have a maker space. Wow, this is too good. What can we do to have internships? And we've already started programs to encourage that. That's why I went to them first and said, these guys want us to hold a maker fair. Are you in? Oh, I'll be on his Christmas card for life. Christmas card list, sorry. It's one of those things that we'll do everything we can, because that's where you knit the kids together. I'll go you one better. Actually, they'll go unnamed, but I mean, I would love to have a college here. It won't be a 4-year program, but it'll be an existing college that may want to teach some classes here, freshman and sophomore classes. And I've already had 2 very good conversations with some folks, because that brings kids here. And if they live here, and we have a lot of, what's the average age of the community? And no, it's not like me. No, it's not. It's 34 years old. Anybody believe that? I've seen the graph, and you know what it is? There's a lot of little babies and little kids, and a lot of them in their later, a lot of people like me. And then you can see the birth years, and then there's a lot of babies and young kids. I mean, you can just see the pattern, so it averages out to 34. There's not a lot of 34. My son's 34, you know. And so he just happens to be typical. But it's one of those that when you look at the community, those are the kinds of needs we're trying to fit. So does that answer your question? So anyway, yes, sir.
The one subject I didn't see mentioned was emergency services, police, fire, and medical. I see a Brave New World up there, and I see greater density, but I don't see an allowance for that.
I've talked to Major Fitzgerald, who is our police chief, if you will. He handles the southwestern district, and I walked him through what we're doing on Holcomb Bridge Road. I said, fair warning, you know, those walking trails and bike paths and those park-like areas, that's a different kind of policing. And he's laughed. He said, don't worry, we got guys on bicycles, we'll put them in there. Whatever you do, we will support you. So, but see, that's a good point, because the real question, see, we've got challenges, but when you look at our community and our challenges, well, every one of those are manageable as far as I'm concerned. What if it was Gwinnett Place Mall? You know what they're recommending out there? I see some guys that are already nodding. They're talking about 30-story towers, really big, tall things. Did you know that when you think about the fire department and the police department, you almost have to have a precinct for think about how do you fight a fire on a building that tall? Gwinnett County doesn't have that. So it's limited. Our tallest building is Comcast's building. What is that? It's 8 stories tall, I think it is. 8 or 9 stories tall. It's right down here on the right. It's the old Wells Real Estate Building. That's the tallest building we have here. And it's up on a hill there. In Tech Park, you have some, 3-4 story buildings, but because the topography is low, you can't really tell. So, I've talked to them. They're good, and, I believe them. Okay, next question. Yes, sir.
Where do we go to do the traffic survey?
I had it up here. It's City Hall. Oh, the survey? Go to the cities. Lori, do you know where it is? It's probably... Yeah, it's on our website. Good question, though. Thank you for... I didn't say that. So any other questions? Well, thank you all for coming out. And, well, hold on a second. Yeah, actually, me giving it. I think they're the one from Friday morning. I think is the one that's going to be there. Is this one going to be on the website for me? On UPCCA's website. So yeah, the slides and the stuff. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Judy.
We also have a link to the survey on our website and a QR code if you want to use your phone and scan it, and that's easier for you. So both of those are on UPPCA's website as well for the transportation survey. Okay, I want to thank you all for coming out. You'll look forward for emails from us over the next few weeks as we advertise our Coffee with the Cop and the Star Awards, and then our event on September 19th. You'll see those within the next few weeks. So thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.